BookTube, Sarah here, and welcome to my channel. Today I'm coming to you with my July 2019 TBR. Say it with me, everybody. It's TBR time! Yay! I love that you guys love that as much as I do. So, anyway, my TBR. I have, I think, 21 or 23 books here to talk to you guys about. If you're new to my channel, the way I pick my TBR every month is that I participate in a number of challenges. Some are year-long, some are monthly, and I pick my TBR based off of those challenges. So I am going to go through the challenges and tell you what books I picked. I'm of course not going to get too much into what all these books are about because I really don't know. But stay tuned, of course, for my weekly reads or my weekly reviews every week to find out what I thought about these books as the month progresses. But yeah, so like I said, 21, 23-ish books here. Super excited. So this video is going up on the last Thursday of June. I'm not exactly sure what day of the week that, or like what number day that is. But I think it's the 27th this is going to go up. But last Tuesday on the 18th, I was playing around on Goodreads, and I happened upon the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads, which is my kickoff. As soon as that list goes up on Goodreads, that's when I start to build my TBR for the next month. And it was only the 18th, and I thought it should be up by the weekend, so at least I can get this all figured out and film my video on the weekend and then have it go up later on in the week. And I looked on Tuesday, and the list had already gone up for July, and I got super stoked. So Tuesday night, I pretty much spent sitting on the couch with my laptop figuring out my TBR. And I flirted with the idea before, and I've talked to you guys about this before, about like doing like a live stream of me picking my TBR. I realized, you know, the more I think about it every time I do one, I'm like, it would be completely boring for the rest of you, I think, because I jump through so many different screens. I'm looking at different places. I'm checking out different, you know, especially when I'm trying, like right now with the summer romance book bingo, of trying to fit books into specific categories for that as well. It took me, I think, over 3 hours to figure it out. And I just don't see that being entertaining for anybody else. So that's why I've never actually done it. But you know what might be fun? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Maybe doing like a live show and having you guys like throw suggestions out to me and stuff like that. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe in the new year, or maybe even in like September, October or something. Have it be like a viewer's choice. You know, like this is the category. What do you guys think I should read for it? That might be kind of fun. What do you guys think? Let me know. Anyway, we have a lot of books to talk about, so let's jump through this one now. So we have got, first off is of course, the Triple RC Challenge, which is the Romance Readers Reading Group on Goodreads. And like I said, this is my jumping off point for my TBR. Once this list goes up, I start picking everything else. And they do 10 challenges every month. And you just essentially have to pick books to go with the challenges. So let's jump in. So the first challenge is J is for July. Read a book that starts with J, or a book whose author's first or last name starts with the letter J. So the book I will be reading is At Last by Jill Shalvis. This is one for my Stacking the Series challenge. This is book number 5 in the Lucky Harbor series. Looking forward to this one. It should be a lot of fun. It's Jill Shalvis. You can't go wrong with a Jill Shalvis. Category number 2, Bird of the Month. Bird of the Month is something that they're doing in 2019, where every month they pick a different bird and they give you prompts based off of that bird. And for July, it's Eagle, which I kind of liked when I thought about it afterward. I'm like, well, yeah, it's Independence Day is in July. So Eagle being the national, is it bird or animal of the U.S.? I don't know. I'm Canadian. We have a beaver as our national animal, so we can't say much against the majestic eagle. The eagle with its keen eyes symbolizing prosperity, courage, strength, and immortality. But it's also considered king of the skies and messenger of the highest gods. With these attributes, the eagle has become a symbol of power and strength. Read a book that includes royalty or a monarch main character at any level. So it could be a king or queen, or it could be a duke or something like that. Or a book with an animal on the cover or as part of the story. Shifters count, like if you want to read a paranormal. Or a book that starts with a letter in the word eagle, E-A-G-L-E. And I'm glad they put that in there, because I wanted to get a lot of my Stacking the Series books. I'm really trying to cram a lot of my Stacking the Series books into my TBRs, because I realized that this year, only a couple of them have holiday books, and they end up being partway through a lot of the series. Like right now I'm reading A Virgin River Christmas, and it's, you know what I mean? And in December, I want to focus only on holiday books. So I'm trying to finish my Stacking the Series books by November, so I can leave December wide open for all the holiday books. But anyway, So I picked a book that started with the letter A because the letter A is an eagle, and it's All He Ever Dreamed by Shannon and Stacey. This is book number 6 in the Kowalski family. As I said, another book that I am reading for my Stacking the Series challenge. Category number 3 is the Featured Author Challenge. They pick 2 authors every month. They pick a Queen of Romance and a Princess of Romance. The Queen of Romance this month is Lori Foster, which is super exciting. The Princess of Romance is Julianne Long, which, of course, we read as a group. We read, oh my gosh, Hot in Hellcat Canyon for the Summer Romance Book Bingo in June. So that was really fun that she's now like, so if any of you wanted to, who are doing this challenge, and you want to move on and read the second book in the series, now is your time. But I am going to be reading a Lori Foster book, and I will be jumping back and reading the first book in the Summer Resort series, and I'll be reading Cooper's Charm. I do have a physical copy of this book. I got it at a used bookstore. It's in mint condition, so super, super excited about this. One summer, 2 sisters, and a chance to start over with this adorable beagle on the cover. So that one should be really, really fun. So yeah, so obviously for the Featured Author Challenge, just read one of those authors, or they give you some other prompts to pick from. Category number 4 is International Kissing Day. Whether it's a quick, friendly peck on the cheek between friends, or a long, passionate kiss between 2 new partners, International Kissing Day celebrates this most enjoyable of activities and the part it plays in cultures throughout the world. Read a book with people hugging or kissing on the cover, or a book that contains double letters in the title or with a mostly pink or red cover. I went for double letters because I wanted to get this book in and it fit. And I will be reading The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I cannot wait. I ordered this one from Amazon. I have been so looking forward to this one. I keep seeing so many awesome reviews for it that I cannot wait to pick it up. I'm so stoked about reading this one, and it is such a summery cover. This is also going to be one for my Summer Romance Book Bingo for the category of a standalone novel, because this is not part of a series. So that absolutely works. Oh, and by the way, I forgot. For my Summer Romance Book Bingo, this one is also going to fit into a category as first in a series. Even though I've read book number 2 already, this is still book number 1, so I can use it for that prompt. So yeah, so I'm especially looking forward to this one. I cannot wait to read the Christina Lauren. I keep hearing such good things about it. Category number 5, Embrace Your Geekness Day is on July 13th. I kind of love that. Wellcat Holidays organize the holiday stating that we all should be proud of the things that define us. And little defines us as much as those things as we're passionate about. Read a book with a nerdy or geeky main character, or a book involving books, or with books on the cover, or a book with a proud or passionate character, your interpretation, it says. I will be reading One Hot Cowboy Wedding by Carolyn Brown. This is book number 4 in the Spikes and Spurs series. It is a hot cowboy, so I'm assuming he's passionate about that female on the cover, judging by the fact that they look like they're getting married and laughing it up and enjoying themselves. So I think this one fits the category. Number 6 is Bastille Day. This is on July 14th. Bastille Day is a common name given to the English-speaking countries to the national day in France, which is celebrated on the 14th of July each year. In French, it is formally called Fête Nationale. I can't speak French, guys. It is the 2nd official language in Canada, and I am not a francophone at all. My mother's side of the family is from France, and her mother was born and raised in Quebec, and I cannot speak a lick of French. Just putting it out there for you guys. So you know why I'm completely cannot pronounce these French words. The French National Day is the anniversary of the storming of the Bastille on the 14th of July, 1789, a turning point in the French Revolution, as well as the Fête de Fédération, which celebrated the unity of the French people on the 14th of July, 1790. Read a book set in Europe, or a book with a 1 or a 4 in the page count, or a book published in July, any year, any edition. I will be reading Falling for the Fortune by Nancy Robards Thompson. This is book number 5 in the Fortunes of Texas. Sorry, my eyes got a little weird there. Fortunes of Texas, Welcome to Horseback Hollow series. I didn't know where to focus for a second. And this has a 1 in the page count. I believe it's like 231 pages or something like that, so it fit. Again, another one for my Stacking the Series challenge, because I'm trying to fit a bunch of them in here. Number 7, Moon Day. On July 20th. Moon Day commemorates the day man first walked on the moon in 1969. Read a paranormal romance, or a book with an outdoor scene on the cover, or a book with a dark cover. You can also read a sci-fi book, because of course there are people out there who think the moon landing was science fiction. Fake news. It says that right here. I didn't make that up. I will be reading Echoes of Evil by Heather Graham. This is a paranormal romance novel. It is book number 26 in the Crew of Hunter series. Another one for my Stacking the Series challenge, and I'm pretty sure this one finishes that tier. So that's exciting. And for my summer romance book bingo, this one is of course going to fit in for a paranormal romance as well. So bonus there. Number 8, Lamington Day. I do hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Lamingtons are a sweet snack from Australia, named after the governor of Queensland, Lord Lamington. The story goes that he was having his favorite yellow sponge cake when his maidservant accidentally dropped the cake into melted chocolate. Lord Lamington then apparently suggested rolling the cake in coconut shavings. That sounds so yummy, does it not, you guys? Read a book set in Australia, by an Australian author or with an Australian main character, or read a book with food on the cover, or read a book you think is sweet. And I went with sweet. And I will be reading Summer Days by Susan Mallery. This is Fool's Gold book number 7. I think that cover is adorable, totally sticky sweet, kind of a adorable cover with them in the the flower field and stuff. So yeah, so it fit the category. Number 9, International Day of Friendship is on July 30th. The International Day of Friendship was proclaimed in 2011 by the UN General Assembly with the idea that friendship between peoples, countries, cultures, and individuals can inspire peace efforts and build bridges between communities. Books can do this as well, in my opinion. Read a Friends to Lovers book, or a book with best friends in the storyline, or a book recommended to you by a friend. And I'm reading one that is a Friends to Lovers story, and that is Second Chance Pass by Robyn Carr, book number 5 in the Virgin River series. So excited about that one. And last but not least, Reader's Choice, read any book of your choosing. And I'm going to be reading Cold Case Colton by Addison Fox. This is book number 4 in the Coltons of Shadow Creek series. For the summer romance book bingo, this is a new to me author. I have not actually read this author before. I thought I had, but I looked on Goodreads and it doesn't show that I read any of her books. I own a bunch of them, but I haven't read any of them, so I'm super excited now. So that is for that category. The next group of books, of course, are the other ones for my summer romance book bingo. My goal is I am just going for one bingo card, to fill one bingo card. So if you take out the free space, it leaves 24 spaces. 24 divided by 3 is 8. That's how much math I can do, and I needed a calculator for that, you guys, honestly. So my goal is to read 8 books a month for my summer romance book bingo. And then in August, I will just pick a random book and just put it in the free space. Not a big deal. So for my bingo picks, outside of the 4 that I've already mentioned, the first one, of course, is our July 2019 group read. And our group read for the month of July is Wanted and Wired by Vivian Jackson. This is book number 1 in the Wanted and Wired series. It is a paranormal romance. So I'm encouraging you, if you're participating in the summer romance book bingo, to read this book with us in July. If not, read a paranormal romance. So if you've always wanted to read a Heather Graham and you haven't read one yet, I encourage you to do so in the month of July and give her a shot. Start with Phantom Evil, which is the first book in the Crew of Hunter series. You won't be disappointed. It's still hands down. It's one of my favorites. But yeah, but again, this is the one that I'm going to be reading. But if you do not want to read this one in particular, feel free to pick any paranormal romance book to read, and you will get 1 point for that. You'll get 2 points if you read this book with us. For the rest, the other ones that I randomly picked and got from my bingo card, one I got was food and cooking. So essentially like a chef romance or something that is in a restaurant. And I will be reading Sweet Talk by Susan Mallery. This is book number 1 in the Bakery Sisters series. So it's about 3 sisters who own a bakery. That's what the trilogy is about. So this is the first book, and I'm very much looking forward to it. I bought this one rather recently for the Kindle for like $1.99 or something. So I was super stoked to get it. The next one was a book set at the beach. So I did a Google search and I typed in romance novel set at the beach. And I encourage you guys to do this if you're looking for something in particular. I always go to Google first because I always find it easier to find stuff on Google than I do on Goodreads. But it will link me to Goodreads, and it linked me to a couple of lists on Goodreads of romance novels or just novels set at the beach. And I scroll through until I find something that I have marked as want to read. So this way I know I'm reading stuff that I've already got on my shelf, if at all possible. And this book came up. Someday Beach by Jill Sanders. This is the second book in the Grayton series. And I believe this series, if I remember, because I've read the first book, it takes place somewhere like the Jersey Shore. That kind of a summertime beach. And yeah, I thought this one looked like a lot of fun. So, and I already had a copy of it, so I decided to read this one. The next one's a new adult. You guys know my love-hate relationship with new adult books. I was reading through the Dearest series. I read the first book in May, which I loved. I read the second book in June, which I hated. I debated on reading the third one for this month when this one came up as my random pick. And I don't know, guys. I don't want to be disappointed again. So I think I need to give this series a little bit of a break for a while. So the book instead that I'm going to be reading is The Chase by Elle Kennedy. Now, I know Elle Kennedy gets a lot of praise. I've read her books before. She actually writes quite a number of books for Harlequin. And I like her work. So I'm going to be reading this one. It's the first book in the Brer U University series. So it's a university romance. But I do have a copy on ebook. So I am looking forward to it and giving it a shot. I'm hoping I like it better than the other ones that I was reading before. And the next one, my last one, for the Summer Romance Book Bingo, is a 2019 Rita finalist. So I went to the Rita homepage and I looked at all the finalists and I saw this book and I got super excited because I've wanted to read this series for a while. I like this author, and it is A Scandalous Deal by Joanna Shupe. This is the second book in the 400 series. This is a historical romance series that takes place in Gilded Age, New York, and I love it. So I cannot wait. I have not read the first book, but the second book was the Rita finalist, so I'm going to be reading the second one first. But you guys know, reading stuff out of order does not bother me in the least. And yeah, I'm super excited about reading this one. So the next thing that we have to pick from is my Audible Romance Package Category Challenge. So for this one, let me find my jar. Oh, there it is. So for this one, excuse me guys, it's a little dry in here. It's just water, I assure you. So what I did at the beginning of the year is I picked 24 categories from the Audible Romance Challenge. And I wrote them on 24 individual little pieces of paper, and I put them all in this jar. And every month I pull out 2 of these, and I encourage you guys to read along with me. You don't necessarily have to read the book that I picked, but I encourage you just to look at the categories themselves and pick a random book from that category if you subscribe to the Audible Romance Package, or as it's now called, Audible Escapes. So yeah, so let's pick and find out. And then when I pick the categories, I'm gonna pause the video and I'm gonna go and pick my books, and then I will come back and talk to you guys. So let's see what we have for the month of July. So exciting. I love doing this. So 1 piece of paper. Try not to look at them. 2 pieces of paper. So let's see what we have for this month. Put that back up there. So the first one that we have is, oh, a World War II. A World War II romance. Oh, that should be good. I do really enjoy a World War II romance. It's something I really started to get into this year, and I'm very much looking forward to reading that one, or whatever book it is that I pick, or finding one. And the other one is going to be, oh, a Regency. Oh, good, an old school Regency. Who doesn't love an old school Regency? It's like Steve picked these, isn't it? World War II and a Regency. So anyway, guys, I'm going to pause the video, and I'll be back in just a second. And I'm back. So I don't know how this happens, but every month I feel like I pick one category that's got like very few pages of anything, and then another category that has like a gazillion things. And this was the case for this one. World War II had maybe 3 pages of stuff. Regency, 49 pages. So you can definitely find something in the Regency category. Now, I did want to make mention, sorry, I'm just shifting in my seat here. I did want to make mention that I did this last month because the one book that I had picked, and I can't remember what the category was for, but I ended up, I wasn't going to have enough time to listen to it because it was something like 16 hours. And to be completely honest, it wasn't a book I was 100% interested in. I think it was the Edwardian era, excuse me. So what I did was I did a search again on Google, and it brought me to a list on Goodreads of Edwardian romance novels. And I found one that was on my TBR that I owned a copy of in print book, or in ebook. And I went and looked, and it was part of the Audible Romance Package anyway. So even though it's not necessarily labeled within the categories, feel free to dive around and read those books. If you know this is a World War II romance novel or a World War II book, and it is part of the Audible Romance Package, or the Audible Escape as they're calling it now, feel free to read that one. It doesn't necessarily have to be listed in those categories. as long as it fits the category. Does that make sense? So yeah. So anyway, for the first one, the book I ended up picking was World War II. I kind of did a search to see because nothing was jumping out at me, but then I read the premise of this one and it sounded really interesting, and it's called The Winter Guest by Pam Jenoff. And this is about two sisters, twin sisters, who are in World War II or Nazi-occupied Poland during World War II. Sorry if you guys can hear the kids outside. Our front door is right there and people stand right there and it drives me bonkers. Anyway, and the cars and everything. My apologies, guys. So anyway, yeah, so it's about two sisters who live in German or Nazi-occupied Poland during World War II. And an American soldier ends up like at their residence and he's injured or something, like he's a paratrooper and he's also Jewish. So the one sister agrees to kind of hide him and the other sister doesn't know about it, and then stuff happens and whatever, intrigue and stuff like that. And they say choices that change everybody's life. And I'm so super interested in this one, mainly because Polish is my own background. My dad's mom is from Poland. She emigrated over to Canada in 1929, I want to say. Yeah, I think in the late 20s. And came over and then lived out west in Western Canada for a number of years before she moved to Ontario and met my grandfather. So yeah, so Polish is in my background. I grew up, with that, and I probably look very, I've been told, I have a very round Polish face. And the older I get, the more I notice it. But anyway, I mean, I'm proud of it. I'm happy with it. My grandmother made some wicked good pierogies and cabbage rolls and all those other good things. But anyway, be that as it may. I'm looking forward to this one, and it sounds very, very interesting. So the next one I got, of course, was Regency. And I mean, like I said, there were 49 pages of Regency. I could have very easily gone onto the list of series that I'm currently reading and picked a Regency book that I'm already reading through a series. Like I thought about it for a second. The Celeste Bradley series that I'm reading, the Heiress Brides, I think the third one is part of the Audible romance package because I know the first two were. And I looked at that and I thought about it, and then I went, I don't know if I want to read that right now. And then as I was scrolling through, I found this book, and it is Mrs. Tonks Turns to Crime by M.C. Beaton. This is book number 2 in the Poor Relations series. Now, I read the first book last year. These are not long books. They are under 100, like right around 150 pages. So on audio, it's a little over 4 hours long. These are nice, short, quick reads. These are clean stories. They center around this, like I said, it's part of the Poor Relations series. And it's centered around a woman who's in her 70s, who is actually one of the poor nobility. Like, they have titles, but they have no money. And this group of kind of misfits, if you will, like this group of people who have found each other. You got to read the first book. Miss Fortescue Steps Out, I think it's called. And it's adorable. And she finds these people, and they end up in her home, open this like hotel. And now they're starting to make money so they can go back into society again, kind of an idea. They are absolutely delightfully adorable. I really, really like them. They are narrated on audio by Davina Porter, who just cake, icing, cherry. Fantastic. Davina Porter is hands down my favorite narrator. She narrates the Outlander series, and she's amazing, and I love her. And so, like, again, if you have the Audible Romance or Audible Escape package, I think this is a series that could appeal to just about anybody. Because, again, it's clean, it's fun, it's, you know what I mean? And it's fabulous narration. So, yeah, so those are my 2 for the Audible Romance package. Next up, we have the Romance-opoly, which is hosted by the girls over at the Under the Covers book blog and Jessica from Peace Love Books. And this is a year-long challenge where you actually have a Monopoly board, and there's different things along the square. So every month I roll dice, and I pick 3 more to do. So the 3 that I got for this month, the first one was Library, which I'm surprised I haven't come across yet because I think there's 3 library spots on the board. And then this month I hit it twice. But the second time I'm like, I won't do Library twice in 1 month. But Library is essentially to read a book that, just read any book of your choosing, essentially. So I went on to my my big list of series that I'm working my way through. Not my Stacking the Series challenge, but my other series list. and I picked a random number and it came across this series. I'm like, okay, so I'll read that book next. And that is When a Scot Ties the Knot by Tessa Dare. Book number 3 in the Castles Ever After series. This is going to be so adorable. I cannot wait to read it. I've really been loving this series. It's kind of a fantastical Regency where there's not magical or mystical elements in it, but you feel like there could be. Do you know what I mean? It's really, really delightful, and I really love it. I cannot wait to read it. And then the next one that I hit on was Warrior's Way, which was to read a book about a band of warriors. Now, this is obviously a paranormal romance. It's not my typical jam. So I looked at the lists that Jess and the girls from the Covers book blog put out, because they do give lists for each of the categories. And this book came up, and I thought about reading the J.R. Ward series again, starting the J.R. Ward series, the Brotherhood something or other, Brotherhood of something or other. It's a long-running series, and I'm pretty sure the one that I picked is also a long-running series. But I know this author, so that's why I decided to go with this one, and it is The Darkest Night by Gena Showalter. Book number 1 in the Lords of the Underworld series. I'm looking forward to this one. I like Gena Showalter. I've read her paranormal before. I read another book by her for paranormal, for a paranormal category for the Romance-opoly challenge. Girl on Fire or something like that. I can't remember what it was called, but I enjoyed that one. So I'm looking forward to this one too. And last but not least, the last one I got was Cozy Corner, which was to read a cozy mystery. How fun is that? So I looked at some of the ongoing cozy mysteries that I have. I have, of course, the Cat Who series that I'm reading through. I have the Yarn Retreat mystery series I'm reading through. But I did find this one. My library has a copy of it, and it is Magic and Macaroons by Bailey Cates, book number 5 in the Magical Bakery Mystery series. So yay, I cannot wait to get to this one. It'll be so much fun. And last but not least, the last 3 books I want to share with you guys are, of course, my review books for the month. I have 3 of them from NetGalley to read this month, and the first one is Jackson by Emily March. This is book number 1 in the Eternity Springs The Brides of Texas series. A great cowboy romance. Very much looking forward to reading it. The second book is What Happens in the Ruins by Kelsey McKnight. This is book number 2 in the What Happens series. And it sounds like this is like a travel kind of a romance where they take place in different areas or something like that. I have not read the first book. I have not read this author. But I saw it on NetGalley, and I'm like, okay, so I checked, and I was approved for it, so I'm super excited, and I cannot wait to read it. And last but not least, The Express Bride by Kimberly Woodhouse. This is book number 9 in the Daughters of the Mayflower series. Now, this is one of those series that you don't have to read in order. Each one is set during a different time period. They just kind of have this whole historical time period aspect that ties them all together. So I read book number 7 a couple months ago, back earlier this year, called The Rebel Bride, I think, that took place during the Texas Revolution. And I didn't particularly love it. Now, this is, I believe, a Christian fiction series, which I enjoy some Christian fiction. When it gets a little too preachy is when I kind of go, okay, enough is enough, which is what I found that other one did, which is why I didn't absolutely love it. Well, I was sent from the publisher book number 8, and I turned it down because I was just like, I think it was like the next month after I read that first one, and I just wasn't loving it. So I kind of needed like a little break, if you will. And then they still offered this one to me. Sorry, I got an itch on my nose. They offered this one to me, and I thought, okay, you know what? Let's give another one a try. These are different authors who write these books, so you're getting different authors each time. Not every time. I think the authors double up, like maybe somebody wrote book 1 and then wrote book 5 or what have you. But the reason that this one jumped out at me is because it takes place during the Pony Express. And for some reason, the Pony Express kind of fascinates me in a way. This very romanticized notion of the mail being delivered by some guy on a horse. You know, like they go from place to place, they run the horse for so long, and then I guess they rest for the night, and guy number 2 picks up and they head off further west. But it just sounds interesting. Like, I want, like, is she a mail order bride? Like, how does this work, you know? So I decided to give this series another try. That one might have just been a dud. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a bad book, but I didn't particularly love it. So we will see what I think about this one. So anyway, guys, that's it for my TBR for the month of July. I cannot wait. I'm so excited to read all these books. And yeah, let me know in the comments below, what books are you reading in July? Come over to the Goodreads group and chat with us about what books you have picked for July for the Summer Romance Book Bingo. Are you also participating in Romance-opoly, and what categories have you gotten this month? What ones have you read? And yeah, if you've read any of these books at all, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And until my next video, guys, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so very much for watching. Bye, guys.